In this video, we're going to talk about some record-breaking comic book sales that just transpired that have some really interesting points of discussion throughout. So stick around for the whole video, and especially stick around to the end to the most interesting book, and also some interesting thoughts about CGC and grading companies in general. But before we do that, we always do a monthly giveaway here on the YouTube channel. If you subscribe, comment, and like, you're entered to win a free slab. Link down in the description for $15 towards your first purchase on Whatnot. We're having a ton of fun over there and a ton of awesome shows planned for the future. So come stop by and pick up some free books if you're new to Whatnot, and use that link. And follow me over on Instagram for trades, for grails, and other fresh content over there. Let's hop into the computer. All right, so we're going to start here with Silver Surfer #1, and stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to save the most interesting book and sale for last. So this is the first solo series for Silver Surfer, the origin of Silver Surfer, the origin of the Watchers, the first appearance of Shalabal, and the first time he says, "Where soars the Silver Surfer, there must he soar alone." The Boston pedigree copy sold for $132,000, which is a very, very strong sale, almost $100,000 more than the last sale of a non-pedigree 9.8. This is a real tough book to get in 9.8, obviously, because, you know, it's square bound, it's got a lot of black on the cover, and this is actually a really nice copy of this book. I've seen other 9.8s that did not look this nice, but nonetheless, 9.8 white page Boston pedigree, $132,000, a very strong sale, which I think will bode well for lower grade copies of this book. Maybe, you know, it'll get it, you know, on the radar of some people, and hopefully, you know, bump the values of those lower grades, a little trickle down effect. Next, we have Albedo #2, the first appearance of Usagi Yojimbo. Yojimbo is Japanese for bodyguard. An animated series is set for Usagi Yojimbo universe, and it's in production for Netflix. So that's interesting that there is, you know, a little bit of spec behind this, but I am absolutely shocked of the sale for $55,200. A very, very strong sale for this book. If we go over to GPA, I mean, the previous sale in 2020 was $19,000, you know, and we're seeing a lot of prices go back to those 2020 price range. So the fact that it did, 150% increase is very, very impressive for this book. 179% increase from that last sale in 2020. So there's only 18 copies graded at 9.8. So even Key Collector has a little note in here that the dollar amount paid over the previous record seems excessive. So who knows? Somebody got carried away. I don't know if this book will ever do that again. But one thing's for sure, it is a very, very impressive sale. Next on the list, we have Incredible Hulk #1, the first appearance and origin of the Hulk, first appearance of Betty Ross, first appearance of Rick Jones, first appearance of General Thunderbolt Ross, and a 9.2 sold for $825,000, up 146% from the last sale in 2018. Now, there are 6 9.2s on the CGC census and only one single 9.4. The single highest graded copy of this book is a 9.4, which is kind of surprising. You know, I thought there would be at least, you know, a handful of 9.6s or 9.8s. As far as like the difficulty in this book, I mean, it's definitely got, you know, this dark cover that's incredibly difficult, but we've seen other Silver Age books with dark covers have at least 9.6s and 9.8s. So kind of surprising the single highest grade is 9.4. 9.2 white on this one. Now here's something that's kind of interesting on this one. So this is the exact same copy that sold in 2018 for $336. You can see the cert number is the same, ends in 3001, ends in 3001. So this person, a 6-year investment, a little less than 6 years, got about a $500,000 increase minus whatever fees they had to sell it. Not too shabby, pretty good return on investment there. But one thing that, you know, is my continued gripe is the CGC case does not protect these books. So this is the sale from 2018, and you can see that the book gets shoved under this inner well. This inner well is just this rinky-dink little piece of plastic that, and they put these $1 million books in there. It just blows my mind. And then if you come over here and look at the sale from just this month, it has come back out from under there, and it just moves around in there. And if you tap this book gently on the side, you can slide it under and you can slide it back, and you can damage the book very easily. And if you ship this book and UPS, even if it's very, very well packed, it can still move in there. They just toss it in the box and it's going back and forth and back and forth. And over the years, sliding in and out from under this thing, it's just a shame that it's not protecting the book. I commented on this to the Heritage grader on Instagram. I made a comment saying, like, man, I wish they would get better cases. And he was like, no, they've fixed it. It's like, that doesn't happen anymore. It's like, what are you talking about? You're the Heritage grader and you don't see this? I mean, I see this all the time. And he's like, no, it doesn't happen. They fixed it. They did not fix it. So here's a prime example of that. Here's the census for Incredible Hulk number 1. Like I said, 1 9.4 and 6 unrestored 9.2s. Next on the list, we have Brave and the Bold number 28, the first team appearance of the Justice League of America. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, Aquaman, first appearance of Starro the Conqueror. My favorite thing about this book is Starro the Conqueror. I absolutely love that character from the movie, and I love this cover. I just think it makes this book so much more collectible that they actually brought him to the screen and made that awesome movie about it. So this sold for $810,000. This is the single highest graded copy of Brave and the Bold 28, 1 9.8, and only 1 unrestored 9.4. Just incredibly difficult to find this book in this grade. So I still think it's a strong sale. A 9.2 sold back in 2013 for $120. So, it seems like a strong sale, but it is the single highest graded of this book. I think maybe if this book were to have come up for sale in 2021, I think it would have surpassed the $1 million mark. So kind of unfortunate timing on that one. In fact, same for this Hulk number 1. I think if this book, this person bought it in 2018, sold it in 2024. Like if they weren't like super attached to it, like why didn't they sell it at the peak of the market, or at least like a year ago? But it seems like unfortunate timing. I think this book would have surpassed $1 million as well if it went up in 2021. All right, so here's what I think is the most interesting book of the lot. Vampirella number 1, first appearance of Vampirella, introduction of planet Draculon, a planet where the water is blood and the species that inhabit it are mostly vampires. 9.8 sold for $78,000, and which is an incredibly impressive sale. The last sale in 2016 being $13,000. But here's what I find so fascinating about this. This is the actual book that sold at Heritage. And here we could take a look. Look at this top corner is a little blunted. Like, okay, like we're getting, that's borderline. It's for a magazine. I can see it being allowed in a 9.8. Definitely a tough book, a little bit rounded edges there, but nothing too crazy yet. But then we get down to this corner right here and bam, there is a sizable color breaking crease. And then if we go and look over here, we've got staple tears at the bottom staple at both ends. We've got minor spine stress lines. Minor spine stress lines are allowed in a 9.8, but we have more staple tears in the blunted corner. So you got blunted corner, staple tears, spine stress lines, and color breaking crease down in the corner. My understanding of CGC grading is that this would not get a 9.8. And if you look at other, copies of this book, they are a little lenient on this book because, I don't know, because of maybe how it was manufactured. They just, they're a little bit lenient on it. But what's so fascinating is go to the notes. They actually put these defects in the notes. So it's a 9.8 white. It was graded in 2023, and it says very light spine stress lines to cover, very light staple tears, very small wear, right bottom of front cover, breaks color. Very small wear, right bottom of front cover. I mean, they're saying, yes, we saw this. They're saying, yes, we saw this. Yes, we saw this, and we still give it a 9.8. Now, I just don't understand this because I have sent in lots of magazines like my Marvel Super Special 16 that had even less of a little corner thing than this. It looked way nicer than this, and it got a 9.6. So the thing of it is they get to decide. And I think it's interesting that they put in here, they put in the notes for 9.8, 3 defects. They're saying, yes, we saw this, and yes, we give it a 9.8. I just don't understand why they would do this unless there was something fishy going on, unless they were like bribed to do this. If they're worried about their reputation, why wouldn't they just give this book a 9.6? I mean, it's got all these defects. Like, if they just gave it a 9.6, like, it would be totally understandable. Nobody would, like, question that. They get paid the same amount of money. So why risk controversy and put in the notes all these defects and grade it a 9.8? Why risk it? Why not just give it a 9.6 unless maybe there's something fishy going on here? Because this is just baffling to me. I don't understand it. What do you guys think? Leave a note down in the comments. While I got you guys here, check out brycecomics.com. Awesome new slabs just listed, and sign up for the newsletter while you're here, and you will be entered to win the Darkhawk #1 signed and sketched by Mickey from Swaggle Comics. Last chance to enter that giveaway. Use code COLLECT10 while you're here for 10% off all in-stock items. So I want to talk a little bit about grading companies, because it seems like we're at the point where, as a community, you can't live with them and you can't live without them. And it seems like we're kind of have a conundrum here, a problem without a solution. And that is that CGC just seems to be getting worse and worse and worse. Ever since they got bought out, we have a whole new slew of problems, and it's just one thing after another. And I don't see it getting any better. And in my opinion, the reason that we're having so many problems is that the company is too big. There's just the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing, employee turnover. It's just gotten to a point where it's just too big, and these problems are getting out of control. And so the reason I think it's a problem without a solution is that, I don't think the growth is going to stop. And if we switch to CBCS, they're going to have to grow, and then they're going to have the same problems about growing, So I just feel like we're in a place where I guess we just have to, deal with these problems as they come up as best they can. But, what I'm talking about here is like the issue with the case and damaging grails and, the recent scam. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. It seems like every other month there's a new scandal or salacious headline coming out of CGC. And one thing that's really interesting is we just got the announcement yesterday that CGC is lowering their prices. And when I saw that, I thought, uh-oh, are they in trouble? Are they, and the note that came out of it was we want to, thank everyone for their continued patronage of the thing. So it's almost like, are they losing some patronage? Is that what they mean by thank you for continuing to support us? Is that a lot of people are jumping ship? And, young Marcus made a really interesting comment yesterday. He said, imagine if the sentiment changes and we switch to CBCS, and imagine we get a collection in that and say, well, if we crack these out and send them over to CBCS, they'll be worth a lot more money. And I thought that was hilarious and a total possibility, and I'm for it. I would love to switch to CBCS. I have no relationship with CGC whatsoever. It's what the community right now values as the quote unquote best grading company. And so as a business, it is the only thing that makes sense to submit to them. But we could switch to CBCS overnight. We could just start submitting all our books to CBCS, and it would make no impact on the business as long as the sentiment in the community was that CBCS was the preferred one. And then GPA could make some, quick adjustments to start tracking CBCS sales, because right now they only track CGC sales. But that's something that I would imagine would be a relatively easy programming fix. And we could do that if we want to as a community. And so I guess my question is, will it ever happen? Is there a breaking point here? Is there anything that they can do to make us jump ship, or are they too big to fail at this point? I think the Vampirella 9.8 is a really interesting example where you're looking at the grader's notes. So there's 3, defects listed in a 9.8, and I just kind of feel like the sentiment there is yeah, we saw it. Yeah, we did it. Yeah, we graded it. And what are you going to do about it? Nothing. You're not going to do anything about it. We can't do anything about it. And so I just wonder, it made me think, like, is there anything they could do where it actually does hurt them? I'm interested to know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below. Thank you for sticking with me all the way to the end of the video. And, you know, remember, these are comics. This is a great hobby. This is a fantastic hobby. We love these collectibles, these, you know, historical pop culture pieces of history. And, like, don't let this grading stuff like ruin your joy of the hobby, because we're all here because we love comics. So let's not be here because we love drama, right? But it is okay to talk about it. But, you know, just remember, the point of all of this is to enjoy this hobby. I hope you're enjoying it as much as me. Thanks again for sticking with us to the end. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.